Hey, what's going on, you guys? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a custom YouTube thumbnail. So if you're just getting started out with your YouTube channel or you don't know how to create a custom thumbnail, I'm going to be showing you that in this video. So I'm going to be showing you two different methods that you can use to create a custom thumbnail. The first one is going to be from a website called canva.com, and then the other one is going to be using Adobe Photoshop. So if you don't have any money to invest in a photo editing software, I recommend using canva.com. It's free to use and it can make your thumbnails really stand out. But if you already have Adobe Photoshop, then I'm going to be showing you how to make a custom thumbnail. And if you just want to skip ahead to that part, then just go to this part of the video. Okay, so let's go over to my computer. Alright, you guys. So I'm going to be showing you two different methods that you can use to create your own custom YouTube thumbnails. So if you're barely getting started on YouTube and you don't have any money to invest, I'm going to be showing you a website where you can create your own custom thumbnails for free. So this website is going to be a website called canva.com. So the cool thing about this website is that you can use it not only to create your own custom YouTube thumbnails, but you can basically create any other kind of designs. You can create a poster, a YouTube thumbnail, channel art for your YouTube channel, a magazine cover. You can also create flyers, a Facebook post, Instagram post, Twitter post. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that you can use canva.com to create content for. But we're going to be focusing on creating a YouTube thumbnail. So if we go over here, we're going to see... No, that's not it. YouTube thumbnail right here. So as you can see, it already selected the size for us, but I recommend, if you're gonna use a YouTube thumbnail, I recommend that you use the dimensions of 1920 by 1080p. So that way you're using a 1080p pixel resolution for your YouTube thumbnail, because that's, I mean, basically the standard quality for everything nowadays. I mean, if you want to get a little bit more fancy, you can use 4K, but I recommend just going with 1080p. So as you can see right here, this is our canvas for our YouTube thumbnail. So you can just basically add content to it. You can just click on any of the content that they have right here. You can use elements that they have. They do charge for some of these, but they have a lot of them that you can use for free. All you have to do is you can just basically drag and drop, resize it. You can add text, add a heading, and you can just create whatever you want to create for your, let's say, the title of your video. So making a custom thumbnail. So you can just select, you can just play around with it however you want to edit your custom thumbnail. You can change the color of the font, make it black, brown, pink, blue, any color that you want to create. I mean, you can just go ahead and play around with it, whatever is suited best for your particular video. But I don't use these kind of templates. I like to create my own. So you can even add other stuff. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys an example of a thumbnail that I'm gonna create using Canva with a picture of myself. So let me see. All you have to do is just go to uploads. You click right here, upload an image. And I'm gonna use maybe, let's say, this one right here. So it's gonna upload, and then once it's done uploading, you can just drag it to the canvas, and then you can just customize it however you want. Any day now. Okay, so it finished uploading, so we can just drag it to the canvas. It's placed right there. And since it's a little bit smaller than the dimensions for our thumbnail, we just have to resize it. So all you have to do is just click on the corner and then just drag it, and it's going to resize automatically. Even if you just try to pull it to the side, it's going to resize in proportion. I mean, that can be a good thing or a bad thing for whenever you're using Canva. I mean, but I like to have a little bit more control with the sizing. But I mean, if you're a beginner, I mean, maybe it's a good thing to have your picture in proportion when you resize it. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna add this this title. I'm gonna change it though. So all you have to do is just simply delete it, and I'm gonna just put making a custom thumbnail. So it's a little too big, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually bring it down. I'm gonna lower the font so it'll fit, so it won't look all crazy. See, there you go. And let's say I want to make that a orange color. Nah, you know what? I'll make it, yeah, like dark gray color. And also what you can do is you can use any of these elements to just make it stand out a little bit more. So you can, they have a little yellow rectangle right here. You can resize that, I believe. Yeah, there you go. Resize that. And then, so I placed it over the text. So what we can do is we can position that so the text is on top of this white rectangle right here. So just click on position and then just click right here where it says backwards, and now it's behind our text. And you can play around with the opacity. So basically the opacity, or it's called transparency. So opacity and transparency is the same thing. So you can just scale it down if you want the white rectangle to be transparent. If it's at 0, it completely disappears. So you can just play around with it. And 75 seems good. And let's see if there's anything else we can add. We can look at the backgrounds. So they have a lot of free backgrounds right here. So, I mean, but if we place these, it's going to go over the picture that I uploaded. So this is mainly, I would recommend, like, if you're not going to use any pictures, maybe if you're going to insert clip art, or you're just going to have just text, and then you can just use any of these backgrounds that they have for free. See, these are pretty good actually. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do for free with Canva for some pretty good YouTube thumbnails. I'm not gonna go through all of them. I mean, I'm just doing this to give you guys an idea, but I mean, there's a lot that you can use for free. So I recommend going with Canva to get started, but I mean, okay, so let me delete this, and let me just go back right here. Okay, so there I am again. So I think this is pretty much, this is good right here. I don't see anything else that I want to add to so they have also a bunch of photos that you can use. So if you don't want to have a picture of yourself, you want to use a photo that they have, you can use, there's plenty of different ones that you can try out for free. Let's say we want to use this one. So we just place this one and then position it to the back. So that way our title is right there. So see, that looks pretty good right there, but I mean, it's not really related to the thumbnail that we're gonna use. So I'm gonna just delete that. So okay, so let's say that this is the thumbnail that I want to go with. So what I can actually do is I can bump up the saturation so the picture would stand out. So a lot of people who create YouTube thumbnails, they bump up the saturation just to make the colors pop a little bit more so it'll catch people's attention. So the way that we would do this is that we would click on filter, no, not filter, right here, adjust, and then saturation. You can just play with that and bring it up more. So as you can see, my face, I'm starting to look orange, and then bam, I look like Donald Trump. And then if you want, you can just bring down the saturation too to take out the color. I mean, it all depends on how you want to create your thumbnail. So obviously different strokes for different folks. You can also play with the tint to change the tint of the entire picture. And I mean, I recommend you guys just come to Canva, just play around with it and just see what you like better for your thumbnails. See brightness right here. Looks like I didn't pay my electricity bill. And then this is back to normal. Contrast, same thing. You can mess around with the contrast. Bring it up, bring it down. And then, so let's say I want to bring the saturation up to like 30 as opposed to 0. See the difference? It's a little plain. Bring it up to 30 so it stands out a little bit more. You don't want to overdo it because it's gonna look kind of like corny. Okay, so let's say that's what we want for our thumbnail. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna download this now. So they suggest that you download this as a PNG file. You can download it as a JPEG, which is gonna be a smaller file size, but they suggest you go with the PNG file because it's gonna be a higher quality. So just go ahead and pick PNG file and download. So it's gonna download. You just gotta wait for it to download, and then you're gonna be able to use that download. You can use that. Oh, there it is. That was pretty quick. So there I am, my handsome face right there, and then I can just use that and place it in a YouTube video. I can use that as a custom thumbnail. So that's basically it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you another method that you can use, and it's gonna give you a little bit more freedom, and you can use a lot more effects to make your thumbnails really stand out. Alright you guys, so this is going to be the other method that we can use to create a custom thumbnail. Now this is Adobe Photoshop, and this is basically the standard when it comes to photo editing and creating all kinds of crazy looking custom thumbnails. Now Photoshop is a little bit expensive. If you have the money to afford a monthly service plan with Photoshop, by all means go ahead. But if you can find other ways where you can get Photoshop without paying, then by all means be my guest. But I'm going to show you how to create a custom thumbnail from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to open a new file just by clicking on File. We're going to click on New. And then this is going to be the dimensions that we're going to use. It's going to be by 1920 by 1080p. So this is a pretty common standard when it comes to thumbnails. It's a great resolution. So just click OK, and it's going to place that new file. So I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can create some thumbnails with Photoshop. So first of all, I'm going to just simply place a photo of me and then just add some text and just make it look better. So basically the same way that I created a thumbnail in Canva, I'm going to do the same method. So when you want to place a file, you just click right here, File, and then you click on Place. And then it's going to show you all the files that you have. So I'm going to pick this one. So that's me right there, looking cool. So as you can see, it has an X over the picture. You just press enter, and then we're gonna resize this picture so it'll fit. So right here, you click on the move tool, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold down the shift key, and then we're gonna click and drag to resize this image so it's gonna be taking up the whole canvas. If you don't hold down the shift key, if you just click and hold the corner, it's not gonna be proportionate, as you can see right there. So holding down the shift key makes the picture in proportion when you enlarge it or decrease the size. So right there is good. It's taking up the whole canvas. So we're gonna just click enter, and now I'm just gonna add some text. So let me see right here, the text tool. So right here, we're gonna click text, and then there's a bunch of different fonts that we can choose from. I'm gonna choose maybe, let's say, let's try Muro. So I'm gonna just create the same thing, making a custom. Okay, we're gonna leave it like that because we're gonna create a new line. So we're gonna do the same thing to resize. We're gonna hold down shift, click the corner to resize it. And what we're gonna do, instead of finding the exact font size that this is, what we can do is just copy it. We're gonna hold down Option if you're on the Mac, and I believe it's the Alt key if you're on Windows. Click Option, hold down Option, and then click this, and then just drag it down to make a copy of it. So now we're gonna use the text tool to just change the word, making a custom YouTube thumbnail. So it's the same, so they're both the same size now, they're same font. So I'm gonna show you something else that we can do to the title to make it stand out a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do right here is go down and click on effects, and this is gonna give me the option to just add an outer glow, an inner stroke, an inner glow. So I'm gonna choose an outer glow. So right here you're gonna see this window pop up. So this outer glow is just like basically like a glow that is gonna be surrounding the text. So you pick the color that you want to choose. Let's say maybe a blue, this weird blue color. You're gonna take the opacity up all the way so people can see it. Bump up the size and the spread so you can see right there the outer globe is like a bluish color. You can also change it, make it any color that you want. Maybe I'm gonna just keep it basic and stick with the white outer glow, but it looks a little bit too much, so I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Okay, so there you go. So I'm gonna enlarge this text a little bit more, holding down the shift key, clicking and dragging. So instead of finding the exact specifications for the outer glow for this other one, all I have to do is come right here where it says outer glow. I hold down the Option key, or I believe it's the Alt key if you're on a Windows. Hold down that button, and then you just click and drag right here, and it takes that outer glow to this bottom text right here. So that's another pretty cool way that you can do it. There's plenty of different ways that you can get things done in Adobe Photoshop. So I mean, these are the most common ways that seem to be easiest for me. So let's say that's all we want to create for our thumbnail. So now all we have to do is just make the saturation a little bit bigger so it stands out. So I'm gonna put all of this on a new layer. So in order to create a new layer, just come right here, click this little button right here. That's gonna be for another layer. Now to have all of these layers on one new layer, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit Command, Option, Shift, and E. So now all you can see right there, all of that is on one layer. So if I were to take out all these other layers and I click on this new layer, everything's on one layer now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up the saturation to make this stand out. So right here, it's gonna be the same thing as in with Canva. You bring up the saturation. You can bring it down, make it black and white if you want. I mean, but I usually like to go with like around 25 to 30 when it comes to saturation. I don't want to overdo it. I don't like to look like Donald Trump and shit. But right here about 30 seems pretty good. So that's a good place to keep it right there. And then the hue, you can play with the hue if you want. I don't really mess with that too much unless I want to look like the Hulk. But yeah, I just usually stick with the saturation just to make the thumbnail stand out a little bit. And then you can also play with the lightness and the darkness, so it can make it, so I can make it look like I'm taking a picture in the dark for some reason, like my lights went out. But I only mess with the saturation. I just bring it up, and then that's basically it. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna save this as, and then let's say custom thumbnail. You can name it whatever you want. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna save this as a JPEG or either a PNG file. So I just recommend a JPEG, and then click save, and then you can choose the option of how high the quality you want of your picture. So you can choose small file, low quality, or you can choose a larger file, which is going to be a higher quality. So I always stick around like 8, quality 8. Save that, and then that's about it. So now we can use this as a thumbnail. But I'm gonna show you another way that you can use Photoshop to create even crazier thumbnails. So I'm gonna open up another file. So create new. So 1920 by 1080. So I'm gonna place the same picture that I just used right now. So there's me again. So I'm gonna resize this a little bit so I can enlarge the picture myself. So what I'm gonna do in this picture is I'm gonna actually cut myself out and then put myself on a different background. So let's say I don't like this background right here because it looks a little boring. So I'm gonna actually just trace myself out and then just place myself on a different background. So this is the way I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna use the pen tool right here. So I'm basically just gonna draw an outline of myself. So this process, it does take a little bit of time to do, but I mean, the more and more you practice, the easier it becomes. So right there, I'm gonna create my first point right there, and then I'm gonna just outline, create an outline. Alright, so basically I drew an outline around myself, and all I have to do now is just connect it. So this is the starting point and this is the ending point. So all I have to do is just connect it right there, and then I'm gonna right click and then I'm gonna click on where it says make selection. So right here, I'm gonna just press OK. I'm gonna leave this alone right here, press OK, and now you can see there's a moving outline around where I basically traced a picture of myself. So now I'm gonna come down here where it says add layer mask, click that, and then bam. So as you can see, there's a new shape right here. So I'm gonna bring this down to the picture of myself, and then bam, there you have it. So this shape right here, I don't need it anymore, so I'm gonna just drag that down to the trash can and get rid of that. So now I'm gonna do the same thing as I did. I'm gonna add an outer glow. So I'm gonna come down to effects, click on outer glow, and then I can just simply make myself stand out. I'm gonna just choose white, bring up the opacity to 100, and I'm gonna increase the size and then the spread. So as you can see, if I want to go all crazy, the spread gets thicker, but I like to keep it simple so it looks, I don't like to go overboard with it. And then the size as well, you can choose how far you want to go with the size. I mean, I like to keep it simple as well, so maybe like something like that looks good. I'm gonna click on OK. So now I'm gonna resize it, and then I'm gonna just add custom text. Maybe I'm just gonna add maybe white text right here and just type the same thing, making a custom. I'm gonna choose a different font actually. So maybe, let me look for one right here that I like. So making a custom YouTube, bring that out. Thumbnail. So I'm gonna resize this as well. Hold down shift, drag it to make it bigger. So I'm gonna maybe change the color of this right here. I'm gonna apply this transformation, highlight this to change the color. Let's say I want to make it a dark red. That looks cool. Okay, so I'm gonna select this now, and I'm going to add another outer glow. Maybe I'm gonna make this a yellowish color. Do the same thing, bring up the opacity, bring up the size, and then the spread a little bit. So that's another way that you can create a more custom YouTube thumbnail. So that's pretty cool right there. And if, let's say that I want to add a background instead of, I don't like this background right here to be black. What I can do is I can change it to any color by selecting this right here, select all, edit, and then fill. And then I can just choose any color that I want to pick for the background. So let's say that I want to make the background an ugly green for some reason. Press OK, and then there it is. But I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to show you guys how you can actually use a different background. So this is what I do. I actually just go to Google and then I type in YouTube background thumbnail. So I just go right here to Google, YouTube background thumbnail. So I'll click on images and I'm going to see what they have. So any of these, I'm just basically look through these and then see which ones I like. Let's say I want to use this one. I'm going to just save this and then save that. And then I'm going to go back to Photoshop. And then I'm going to place that file in the background. So I'm going to click File, Place. I'm going to go to Recent. Click on that one. And then bam, there it is. So as you can see, my pretty face is behind all of this along with the text. So all you have to do is just drag this layer down below where the picture of myself is at. So drag it down and then drag it down. And there it is. So I just made a thumbnail using a custom background. Made just my own text. And that's basically it. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring up the saturation. So I'm going to put this all on a new layer. So new layer, I'm going to click Command. I'm going to click and hold Command, Option, Shift, and E. So now it's all on the same layer. So I believe if you're on the Windows, it's Control, Alt, Shift, and then E. But I'm not too sure about that. Okay, so going right here to the hue and saturation. Just bring it up to, let's say, 25. Let's see how that looks. So you can see it added a little bit more saturation. So just to show you the difference, this is at 0, basically where it's at, and then 25. So it's a little bit brighter, which is nothing too crazy, but it does stand out a little bit more. Let's see how it looks when I adjust the hue. Oh yeah, there you go, looking nice and green. Or if I want to be part of the blue man group, there it is. But I'm gonna just leave it at 0, and then same thing. Just that's basically it. Just save that thumbnail, custom thumbnail, whatever. Now 2, and I'm gonna save this as another JPEG file. You can't save it as a Photoshop file if you're planning on using it as a thumbnail because it's not gonna read that format. So just save that, save it as a high quality, and that's basically it. But I'm gonna show you another way where you can get great looking pictures for free, and that's gonna be from a website called Unsplash. So I'm gonna take you back to Google right here. Unsplash. Now this is a lot of stock photos that you can just basically use for free. So if you don't want to get in trouble with like any copyright infringement or anything like that, I just recommend going here to Unsplash. And then they have a lot of professional looking photos. So you can use these as well with Canva. So you can just, let's say nature. Let's say you want a nature picture. They have plenty right here. Let's say this one looks cool. So let's say that I want to use this one. I'm gonna just save this as. You can just download for free, but I just like to save them directly to my computer. go back to Photoshop, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to, instead of me creating a new file, or I'm gonna just place this in the background as well. So I'm gonna place, go to recent, and then bam. And then we're just gonna readjust this. There it is. Pretty cool nature scenery. And basically, I'm going to add myself right there. So there I am, in the middle of the water, looking pretty cool. So I mean, that's basically it, how you create a custom thumbnail using a free method, which is going to be Canva. And if you have money to spend on Photoshop, I mean, Photoshop is a great way to customize your pictures in all kinds of different crazy ways. But if you're barely getting started, I mean, Canva is a great way to start off too. I mean, you've seen the type of effects that you can get from it, and I mean, that's basically it. Well, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys learned something new. And if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And let me know down in the comments below if you got any kind of value from this video. I usually don't do these kind of videos on my channel. My channel is more focusing on how to make money online. So if you guys are interested in learning different methods that you can use to start earning money online, then I invite you to subscribe to my channel. So that's basically it. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one.